Hey everyone, ready to break free from those limitations? Today we are taking a deep dive into John C. Maxwell's No Limits.
We'll be looking at the 1 Hour Guide summary,
Yes, exactly.
which is just jam-packed with awesome insights from these leaders
And entrepreneurs.
about how to just crush those barriers and maximize your potential.
It's pretty inspiring stuff.
And what I think is really cool about this guide is the way it's structured.
Oh yeah.
It breaks this whole journey down into like 3 parts.
Okay.
Awareness, ability, and then choices.
I like it already.
So it's not just about, dreaming big, but it actually gives you like a framework to get there.
I love a good framework.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into part 1, awareness.
Sounds good.
Chapter 1 hits us with this really powerful question. Do you know what's limiting you?
Right.
I mean, you might think you do, but Maxwell really makes you think about
Yeah.
those self-imposed caps that we all kind of wear sometimes.
It's like he uses this analogy
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
a boy tossing his cap over a wall. Sometimes we kind of need to throw those limitations over the wall and just see what's possible on the other side.
It's such a great visual.
It is.
I love how he distinguishes between the limits we can control
Right.
and the ones that we really can't, like things like your background or circumstances.
Yes.
Those are kind of fixed,
Mm-hmm.
but our mindset and our habits, those are totally up for change.
For sure. And what's really interesting about this is that it applies directly to you. Like,
Oh, yeah.
think about your own life.
Hmm.
What are those fixed caps that you're dealing with right now?
Right.
And more importantly, what are those self-imposed limits that you could just toss over the wall?
Yeah, get rid of them.
Exactly.
So it's all about kind of focusing on strengths, not weaknesses.
Yeah.
We often get so caught up in what we're not good at
Yeah.
that we totally forget to leverage what we actually excel in.
It's like Maxwell saying,
Yeah.
You've got these awesome strengths, use them. And that kind of leads to this really powerful formula that he calls the capacity challenge.
Hmm.
And it's basically like awareness plus ability plus choices equals your capacity.
So we're starting with awareness,
Yeah,
but we'll kind of explore how those other elements play in as we go deeper.
for sure.
All right, so on to chapter 2. Blow off the caps that limit your life.
Yeah,
It's about taking action, right?
absolutely.
Identifying those removable caps and just getting rid of them.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Maxwell points out that these limits can come from both ourselves
Hmm.
and others.
Oh, good point.
So we might have our own doubts and fears,
Right.
but we can also face stereotypes or a lack of belief from people around us. So it's like we're getting hit with limitations from all sides.
That is a good point, yeah.
It's true.
It kind of reminds me of that classic David and Goliath story,
Oh, yeah.
where everyone thought David was crazy for taking on this giant,
Right.
but he just had this unwavering belief in himself. He just blew off those external limits and achieved something incredible.
What a story.
Right.
And it really highlights the power of believing in yourself even when other people doubt you.
I think that's so important.
It is.
So often we're limited not by our actual abilities, but by
Yes.
what others think we can do,
Totally.
or even what we think we can do.
That's true, too.
It's so powerful.
It really is.
Okay, so we've got a handle on what's holding us back.
Mm-hmm.
We're ready to ditch those limits.
Yes.
But how do we actually build that capacity to achieve more?
Good question.
That's where part 2 comes in, ability.
That's right. And Maxwell kicks it off with a concept that might surprise you. Energy capacity.
Energy capacity. Okay, I'm intrigued.
So in chapter 3, he kind of challenges this whole time management thing
Interesting.
and argues that energy is the real key.
Okay, I'm listening. I've got to admit that caught my attention too.
It's easy to get caught up in that.
We're always trying to cram more into our day. But what if we focused on managing our energy instead?
That's exactly it.
Okay, I like it.
So Maxwell argues that time, it's finite,
Right.
but energy can be increased and optimized.
I like the sound of that.
Think about Richard Branson.
Oh, yeah.
He's known for his incredible energy.
Yeah, I've always wondered what his secret is.
And his secret,
I'm ready.
he starts each day with exercise.
Oh, okay, so simple, yet so effective.
Right. But it's not all about pushing yourself to the limit either.
Okay, good point.
He also brings up Ariana Huffington,
Mm-hmm.
who emphasizes the importance of rest
Well, that's important too.
and recharging.
Yeah, burnout is real.
It is. So it's about finding that balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Knowing your own energy patterns
Oh.
and figuring out what works best for you.
Yeah, because
Some people thrive on early mornings, others are night owls.
Exactly.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
that makes so much sense.
It does.
And it kind of ties back to that self-awareness piece, right?
Yeah, for sure.
The more we understand ourselves, the better we can manage our energy and make the most of our time.
Totally.
Yeah.
So now, chapter 4 kind of takes us even deeper into that self-awareness realm.
Okay.
And it's all about emotional capacity. You're in control, even when it doesn't feel like it.
Oh, that's good.
This is where emotional intelligence really comes into play.
Okay, so we hear so much about emotional intelligence these days.
We do.
But what does it actually look like in practice? How can we develop that emotional capacity that Maxwell's talking about?
Such a good question. He highlights the difference between like reacting to emotions and responding to them.
Interesting.
It's about that pause, that moment of choice,
Mm-hmm.
even when you're feeling totally overwhelmed.
Yeah. Easier said than done sometimes.
It can be. Think about a leader like Satya Nadella.
Oh, yeah, Microsoft.
Yeah. His emotional capacity played a huge role in transforming Microsoft's entire culture.
Yeah. I read about that. It's amazing.
It is.
He really focused on empathy and creating a more inclusive environment.
Yes.
And it made a huge difference for the company.
Absolutely.
It really shows how powerful emotional intelligence can be, not just for individuals,
Yes.
but for whole organizations.
Right. It's a great example of how a leader's emotional capacity can actually set the tone for a whole group.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
It is.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit.
Sounds good.
Chapter 5 is all about thinking capacity. Your mind is a muscle. Let's train it.
Okay. I like that.
I love that analogy.
Me too.
Thinking as a muscle that we can strengthen.
So how do we actually do that?
Yeah, that's the question.
That's the question, right?
How do we actually do that?
Well, Maxwell emphasizes that thinking is a skill, not something you're just born with.
Right.
And he talks about different types of thinking.
Okay.
Reflective, creative, strategic.
Interesting.
Leaders need to be able to use them all.
Oh, for sure.
You know, think about Steve Jobs
Uh-huh.
and Apple's design thinking. It wasn't just about making products that worked. It was about
Yeah.
creating something beautiful
Yes.
and intuitive.
That's a perfect example.
It
It
is.
really highlights how all these different thinking styles can come together to create something innovative. And it kind of makes you realize that anyone can develop their thinking capacity, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just for geniuses like Steve Jobs.
Not at all. It's about challenging yourself, trying new approaches, stepping outside your comfort zone.
Okay, I like it.
And the more you use those thinking muscles,
Yeah,
the stronger they get.
that makes sense. All right, let's move on to chapter 6.
Okay.
People capacity. Relationships are your superpower. This is something I think a lot of people struggle with, myself included.
Yeah.
How do we build those strong, meaningful relationships that Maxwell talks about?
Such a good question. He really emphasizes the importance of things like trust, communication,
Yeah,
and mutual respect
for sure.
as like the foundation.
Bedrock.
Yes, for any strong relationship.
Okay.
And he brings up Oprah Winfrey as a prime example
Yeah,
of someone who's mastered this people capacity.
I can definitely see that.
She just has this incredible ability to connect with people,
Right.
to make them feel seen and heard.
Think about her interviews,
Yeah,
her shows,
exactly.
her entire brand.
Right.
It's built on that genuine connection.
It is, and it's something that we can all learn from.
Yeah, totally.
You know, it goes back to those soft skills we're talking about earlier, like active listening,
Right.
empathy,
Yes.
genuine interest in others.
Yeah.
Those are the building blocks for strong relationships.
Yes.
And they're skills that anyone can develop.
I love that.
Me too.
It's not about being born with some magical charisma. It's about putting in the effort to really connect with people
Exactly.
on a deeper level.
For sure.
All right, chapter 7,
Okay.
creative capacity. See the options, find the answers.
Yeah.
This is where things get exciting.
This is a good one. Maxwell kind of busts this myth that creativity is just for artists.
I like that.
You know, he argues that everyone has creative capacity. And it's essential for solving problems and finding those opportunities that other people miss.
Okay.
You know, think about the story of Airbnb's founders.
Oh, yeah.
They turned a simple challenge, needing to pay rent, into a billion-dollar business.
It's such a great example.
It is.
It really shows how creativity can be applied to any situation,
Totally.
not just artistic endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you realize that sometimes the best ideas
Right.
come from limitations.
That's so true. Constraints can actually spark creativity.
Interesting.
They kind of force you to think outside the box
Yeah,
and find new solutions.
totally.
And that's a powerful lesson for anyone, regardless of their field.
I love that. Okay, now for chapter 8, production capacity. making things happen the right way.
Yes.
This is where we kind of get down to the nitty-gritty of getting things done.
Yeah, absolutely. This chapter is all about efficiency,
Uh-huh.
working smart and achieving results consistently.
Okay.
Maxwell actually uses Amazon as a prime example of operational efficiency.
Oh, yeah.
They've mastered the art of getting things done on a massive scale.
For sure.
But he also acknowledges that it's not always smooth sailing.
Right. There are always challenges.
Always challenges, yeah.
It's not always easy.
He talks about Tesla's early production struggles, which kind of proves that even the most innovative companies face challenges.
For sure.
And it's about adapting, learning, and continuously improving.
Right. Always learning.
Always learning. And for anyone listening, I think a key takeaway here is the importance of clarifying your goals
Oh, yeah. That's huge.
and prioritizing your tasks.
Yes, that's so important.
You know, we can easily get so bogged down in the day-to-day,
I know.
but having that clear vision and focusing on what truly matters is essential
Yeah.
for maximizing your production capacity.
I think that's something we can all relate to.
I think so too. It's easy to get caught up in the busy work, but
Totally.
are we actually moving the needle on what's really important?
That's the question.
That's the question.
Okay, we're wrapping up part 2 with chapter 9, leadership capacity. Lifting others up is the ultimate power move.
I love how Maxwell kind of frames leadership as being about influence and empowering others, not just holding some fancy title.
Right.
And he brings up Satya Nadella again,
Oh, yeah.
highlighting how his leadership style transformed Microsoft
Right.
by focusing on empowering his team.
Yeah.
It's a great example of how a leader's capacity can actually set the limit for a whole organization.
That's interesting.
Maxwell calls this the law of the lid, which is a pretty thought-provoking concept.
Yeah.
You know, it makes you think about your own sphere of influence
Yeah.
and how you can actually empower those around you.
That is a great point, and that's a perfect segue into part 3, choices. Because ultimately, it's our choices that determine how we use our abilities and really maximize our capacity.
Totally.
We've kind of laid the groundwork with awareness and ability, but now it's time to put it all into action.
I'm excited to see where this goes.
Me too. Join us in part 2 as we explore those choices, those decisions that shape our lives.
Yes.
And ultimately determine whether we live with limits or we break free from them.
I can't wait.
Me neither.
Welcome back.
We're diving deeper into John C. Maxwell's No Limits,
Absolutely.
exploring the choices
Yeah,
that really shape our capacity for growth.
for sure.
We've talked about awareness,
Nah,
we've talked about ability,
right.
and now it's time to put it all into action.
Let's do it.
Okay, part 3 starts strong
Yeah.
with chapter 10, responsibility capacity. Own your life. Own your choices.
Ooh, that's good.
It's like Maxwell saying, no more excuses,
Right.
take ownership,
Yeah.
be responsible.
He really stresses that taking responsibility is key to growth and success. No more blaming other people. No more playing the victim.
It's so easy to do that, though.
It is.
To blame others,
Right.
but it's really about recognizing that we have the power to choose how we respond
Exactly.
to any situation.
To any situation, yeah. And he brings up Indra Nooyi,
Oh, yes.
former CEO of PepsiCo.
Right,
It's
yeah.
a great example.
Yeah.
You know, she championed her performance with purpose strategy. Even when she was faced with all this criticism and pushback,
Wow.
she owned her choices, and
Yeah.
ultimately that led to success.
It makes you think about your own life, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, what are those areas
Mhm.
where you might be avoiding responsibility?
Right.
And what could you achieve if you just stepped up
Yes.
and owned those choices?
Just powerful stuff.
It's a challenge,
It is,
but it's an empowering one.
for sure.
Okay, let's move on to chapter 11.
Right?
Character capacity.
Mm.
Doing the right thing, even when it's hard.
That's a good one.
This seems like such a crucial element, especially when we're talking about leadership.
Absolutely. Character is that foundation
Yeah.
for trust and credibility
Right.
and lasting success.
Uh-huh.
You know, talent and skills can only take you so far.
That's true.
Maxwell highlights Howard Schultz,
Okay.
former CEO of Starbucks,
Yeah.
and his decision to keep offering health benefits to employees
Oh, yeah.
during the 2008 financial crisis.
Oh, that must have been a really tough call.
I know, right? Given the economic climate at the time.
Yeah.
But it really speaks to his character
Mm-hmm.
and his commitment to his people.
Absolutely.
And it contrasts really sharply with the Volkswagen emissions scandal,
Oh, right.
which shows the consequences
Yeah.
when character fails.
Yeah. It all kind of crumbles.
It does. It's a sobering reminder that those shortcuts and ethical breaches
Right.
ultimately lead to downfall.
That's a good point.
Integrity matters.
Yeah, it does. Chapter 12.
Yeah.
Abundance capacity. There's enough for everyone. Seriously. This just seems so counterintuitive.
It does.
In today's competitive world.
I know.
Where it feels like it's a scarcity mindset.
Right, and that's what makes this concept so powerful.
Yeah.
You know, Maxwell challenges that scarcity mindset that I think so many of us fall into. That belief that there's only so much success to go around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Right. He argues that an abundance mindset fosters generosity, collaboration, and shared success.
That's interesting.
And he uses Microsoft under Satya Nadella as an example.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they started partnering with competitors.
Wow.
Embracing an abundance mindset.
Instead of just competing.
Right, instead of constantly battling for dominance.
That's a big shift.
It is. It's a great example of how just shifting your perspective can open up all these new possibilities.
Yeah.
So think about your own life. Where are you holding yourself back with that scarcity thinking?
That's a powerful question.
What could you achieve if you actually believed there was enough for everyone to succeed?
Okay, next up is Chapter 13.
Right.
Discipline capacity. Consistency is your secret weapon.
Yeah.
I think this is something that we all struggle with.
Oh, at times for sure.
You know, motivation kind of comes and goes, but discipline is what keeps us moving forward.
Discipline is key.
It is.
And Maxwell frames discipline as that key to turning intentions into actions.
Okay.
Consistently.
Consistently, yeah, that's the hard part.
It is.
Doing it every day.
He uses Jeff Bezos and his relentless focus on long-term growth at Amazon is a great example.
It's about playing the long game.
Exactly.
It's not about instant gratification.
It's not. It's about making those choices day after day that lead to that sustainable success.
Yeah.
And he contrasts this with Blockbuster's failure to adapt to that changing market.
Right.
You know, they lacked the discipline to evolve.
Yeah, they just couldn't keep up.
They couldn't, and it ultimately led to their downfall.
It's a classic example of how even those established giants can just crumble.
They can.
Without that commitment to continuous improvement.
That's right.
And a great takeaway from this chapter is the power of breaking down big goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
Absolutely.
Because then it doesn't feel so overwhelming.
It makes it so much easier to stay disciplined and to avoid feeling overwhelmed.
Exactly. Small steps lead to big results.
They do.
Okay, Chapter 14.
All right.
Intentionality capacity. Living on purpose. Making every action count.
This one feels very personal.
It does.
It kind of forces you to really examine your life.
It does. It really does.
Maxwell stresses the difference between accidental living and intentional living.
Okay, so like just letting life happen to you?
Right.
Or are you consciously creating the life that you want?
That's exactly it. And he actually uses Oprah Winfrey's journey as an example.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Her deliberate shift from focusing on just success to creating significance and making a difference in the world.
Yeah.
You know, it's inspiring to see how she intentionally steered her career towards something more meaningful.
It is.
And it makes you think about your own life.
It does.
Your own purpose.
Right. Like, what are you doing intentionally to create a life that truly matters?
That's a powerful question.
It is.
Okay, Chapter 15.
All right.
Attitude capacity. Choose positivity no matter what.
Okay, this one seems pretty straightforward.
It does, but I'm guessing Maxwell kind of goes deeper than just think positive.
I think you're right.
It's not about denying the challenges or pretending that everything is rosy.
Yeah.
It's about choosing how you respond to those challenges.
Yeah.
You know, he shares the incredible story of Nelson Mandela, who chose positivity and forgiveness even after 27 years in prison.
That's an incredible example.
It really is. It highlights that even in the darkest of times, we have a choice in how we respond.
We always have a choice.
We always have a choice.
Yeah, and that choice can have a profound impact.
Right.
Not just on ourselves, but also on those around us.
Absolutely. And it reminds me that developing a gratitude practice can be such a simple but effective way to cultivate a more positive outlook.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, are you ready for Chapter 16?
I'm a little nervous, but yeah, let's do it.
Risk capacity. Stepping out of that comfort zone. It's worth it.
This one gets me a little nervous.
Oh, I love this chapter.
But also excited?
I know. It's about recognizing that those calculated risks are necessary for growth and learning and breakthroughs.
Yeah. If you're not taking risks,
Right.
you're probably not growing that much.
Playing it safe might feel comfortable,
It does.
but it won't get you those extraordinary results.
And of course,
Yeah,
Maxwell brings up Elon Musk,
of course he does.
the ultimate risk taker.
The ultimate.
His ventures with Tesla and SpaceX have just revolutionized entire industries.
That's incredible.
And it's all because he was willing to step outside of that comfort zone
Yeah.
and just bet on his vision.
It's a reminder that sometimes the biggest rewards come from taking those leaps of faith, from venturing into the unknown.
Right.
But it's not about being reckless. It's about calculated risks,
Exactly.
doing your research, and
Yeah.
being prepared to learn from both the successes
Yes.
and the failures.
It makes you think about your own life, doesn't it?
It does.
What calculated risk are you ready to take? What could you achieve if you push past that fear
Yes.
and embrace the unknown?
Those are the questions. Now let's move on to chapter 17.
Okay.
Spiritual capacity. Find your anchor, weather any storm.
This one might seem a bit unexpected
It does.
in a book about achieving success,
Right.
but I think it's so important.
I agree. Maxwell isn't necessarily talking about religion here.
Right.
It's about finding that deeper sense of purpose, that
Yeah.
connection to something greater than yourself.
All right, whatever that may be for you.
Whatever that may be, he talks about Howard Schultz and his focus on building a company culture based on respect and service at Starbucks.
Right, it was really important to him.
It was, it's about aligning your actions with your deeper values, finding that inner compass that guides you
Yeah,
through the inevitable storms of life.
I like that. Yeah, it's like having that anchor that keeps you grounded
Yes.
and gives you strength when things get tough.
And it's a reminder that success without purpose
Yeah,
can feel pretty empty.
absolutely.
Okay, we're getting close to the end here.
I know, it's gone by so fast.
It has.
Chapter 18, Growth Capacity. The journey never ends. And that's awesome.
Oh, I love this one.
This one's great.
This chapter beautifully captures the essence of a no-limits mindset. It's a reminder that growth is a conscious choice,
Yeah,
a commitment to that continuous improvement.
right. It's a journey, not a destination.
It's not about reaching some final destination.
Exactly.
It's about embracing that journey,
Yeah.
of becoming more.
And Maxwell brings back Howard Schultz's story,
He does.
highlighting how his return to Starbucks was driven by a desire for growth,
Right.
both for himself and the company.
For everyone.
Yeah, it shows that we can always evolve,
Always.
always learn, always strive to be better,
That's right.
no matter where we are in our journey.
No matter where, it's about embracing that growth mindset, that belief that you can always improve, always learn new things, always expand your capacity.
Yeah. And finally, we wrap up part 3 with chapter 19,
Okay.
Partnership Capacity. Teamwork makes the dream work. Seriously. This one seems to bring it all together.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
Maxwell emphasizes that collaboration is essential
Yeah.
for maximizing your potential.
Because we can achieve more together than alone.
We really can. He uses the classic example of Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak,
Oh, right. Yeah.
whose partnership built Apple.
Oh, wow. What a partnership.
What a partnership. It's a reminder that those complementary skills can create something truly extraordinary.
Yeah.
And it offers a really practical tip for anyone listening.
Okay.
Evaluate your strengths and your weaknesses to find partners who actually complement your skill set.
It's about finding those people
Yeah.
that have different perspectives and different strengths
Right.
and different experiences.
It's not about finding people who are just like you.
Yeah.
It's about seeking out those who bring something different to the table.
Right. And building those synergistic relationships
Yes.
that elevate everyone involved.
Totally.
Okay, that leads us perfectly into the conclusion of No Limits,
It does.
where Maxwell kind of ties everything together and offers a powerful vision for living a life without limits.
Are you ready to dive into that final chapter?
I'm ready. Let's do it. Okay, so we've made it. The final chapter of No Limits.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. We've explored awareness, we've honed our abilities, and we really broke down those choices. What's the grand finale? What's the big takeaway?
So chapter 20 is called Your Life No Limits, and it's really a fantastic way to wrap everything up.
I'm ready.
It's not just a summary, though. It's a call to action, like a blueprint for how to apply these principles and actually create a limitless life.
So we've heard about all these incredible leaders,
Yeah.
from Richard Branson to Oprah,
Right.
but how do we translate their experiences into our own lives.
Well, Maxwell reminds us that living a no-limits life, it's not about reaching some magical destination. It's about the journey, the daily choices, the consistent effort to just keep expanding our capacity in all those areas we've talked about.
So it's not about overnight transformations.
No.
It's more about building those capacities step by step.
Exactly. Think back to all those 17 capacities.
Wow, yeah.
You know, each one represents an area where we can grow, where we can improve. It's like having this toolkit.
Like that.
Yeah, filled with all these different instruments for success.
So which ones will you choose to develop?
Which ones resonate with you?
Yeah, it emphasizes that there's no one-size-fits-all approach here.
Definitely not.
We get to choose which areas are most important to us, which capacities we want to prioritize.
Right. And those choices are going to be guided by our values, our goals, and our own definition of what a no-limits life really means.
So it's not about copying someone else's path.
No.
It's about forging our own.
Exactly.
But drawing on those principles and insights that really resonate with us.
And that's the beauty of this book. It's not prescriptive.
Okay.
It's empowering.
I like that.
You know, it gives you a framework, but ultimately it's up to you to define and create your own limitless life.
I love that. So it's like Maxwell gives us the tools, gives us the inspiration, but it's our responsibility to use them to build something amazing.
To build your own masterpiece.
And that building process is continuous.
Oh, yeah.
There's no finish line.
Right.
It's about embracing continuous growth, continuous learning.
Always expanding.
Always expanding our capacity.
That's what makes a no-limits life so exciting.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing adventure.
Okay, as we're wrapping up this deep dive, what's the one key message that you want to leave with our listeners? What's the real essence of living a no-limits life?
You know, it's not about achieving perfection.
Okay.
Or never facing challenges.
Right. There will always be challenges.
Always.
Yeah.
It's about embracing those challenges, learning from them.
Right.
And using them as fuel for growth.
It's about resilience, adaptability, and that unwavering belief in our own potential.
To achieve more.
Right. And remember, you're not alone on this journey.
You're not.
We all have those people in our lives who support us, inspire us, challenge us to become better versions of ourselves.
Absolutely.
And those partnerships, those connections are essential for growth and success.
Couldn't agree more.
And with that, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into John C. Maxwell's No Limits.
We have.
We hope you've gotten some value from this.
Yeah.
And are feeling inspired to embrace a life without limits.
That's what it's all about.
We've covered a lot.
We have.
From awareness to ability, choices to partnerships. And I've got to say, I'm feeling pretty fired up to put all of this into practice.
That's awesome.
It is.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
And remember, it all starts with one small step. So what's one action you can take today?
Yeah. Good question for our listeners.
Yeah, to expand your capacity and just move a little closer to your goals.
That's a great question to ponder.
We encourage you to share your thoughts, your takeaways, your aha moments with us on social media.
Yeah, let us know.
Use the hashtag #NoLimitsDeepDive.
We'd love to hear from you.
We would.
And continue this conversation.
For sure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep pushing those boundaries. The world is full of possibilities.
That is.
And you have the power to create a life that truly knows no limits.
That's right.
This is The Deep Dive. Signing off. See you on the next adventure.